The Scoop. The Scoop. Hey, what's up? This is your girl Ashley Marie, and you're tuned into The Scoop, your one stop for all things love, lifestyle, and relationships on MorrisMediaLive.com.
I said, welcome to the school. You know it's time to tune in. You gotta tell all your friends, girl, welcome to the school. You know it's time to tune in. You better tell all your friends, homie, welcome to the school. The time is now, tune in. You better buzz in your friends, y'all, welcome to the school. Gather round, tune in. Now let the show begin. Hey, look, it's time to tune in. If you not, then you faking it. The best topics, love, lifestyle, and relationships. The dopest host in the world, Ashley Marie, holding it down from 7:30 to the 9:00 p.m. You better tell a friend every Wednesday night, cause you know she going in. They breaking the hottest artists in the game right now. No competition, so she in her own lane right now. You need the latest and the greatest, somebody that's gonna debate it. Well, we got it on lock, I know they hate it. So you can learn a lot if you choose to pay attention. We talk world news, sports, don't let me fail to mention how to get your money right, so you can live a lovely life. Call in and get you some advice. It's not a game no more, we taking over the airwaves. MorrisMediaLive.com to catch the replay. You know it's time to tune in. You gotta tell all your friends, girl, welcome to the school. You know it's time to tune in. You better tell all your friends, homie, welcome to the school. The time is now, tune in. You better buzz in your friends, y'all, welcome to the school. Gather round, tune in. Now let the show begin.
Welcome to The Scoop. Happy Wednesday, you guys. I am your host, Ashley Marie, and we are your one stop for all things love, lifestyle, and relationships. And tonight we are hanging out with the founder, CEO of young men's or boys mentorship program called Boys to Gentlemen, aka B2G, Keith Linton. Welcome to The Scoop, Keith.
Thank you for having me.
I'll clap you up. I'm used to having someone clapping, but no problem. I'm so excited to have you back in the studio. This is what, your third time here in The Scoop?
This is, yes.
Wow.
The third time.
So B2G has been around for how long now?
We're going on about 2 years.
2 years now. Okay, yeah. You guys have grown so much. You started with, and for those of you that don't know the background of Mr. Linton, he is actually a ex-LAPD?
Yes, ma'am.
Officer?
Yeah.
And he basically, we were just talking about this before we started the show, but he basically walked away from his secure job to start this program. He believed in it so much. He had so much passion for the youth in LA County and youth in general to get this started. So I applaud you for that. And I'm so happy to see that it's still going and that you are growing the program. And there's so many wonderful things that have happened within the I'd say like a year and a half or so.
Right.
When you first came here, how long had you had the program?
When I first came here, when you had me and Eamon Rollin at that time, I think I had like 2 schools. 2? Okay. And I just had implemented Boys to Gentlemen for I think 2 months. Yeah. And tell us how many schools you have now. Now I'm still the only facilitator. Right. But I'm working with over 2,000 young men. Wow. Around 100 young ladies. Wow. And we just now implemented our 15th school.
Wow! Congratulations!
So, thank you.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Thank you.
So, what do the kids call you, Mr. Linton?
Well, you know, when we start our program, they call me, because they all know me as Officer Linton. Oh, okay. But when we start and we get that family bonding, we all have our nicknames. So they call me DL. Because of my last name being Davis Linton. Oh, so okay. if you're on the campus and we're walking the campus together, they are not going to say Officer Linton. They're going to say, hey, what's up, DL? Right. Because it's me getting down to their level. And now they know, yeah, we respect him as a former officer and as our leader, as our teacher. Right. But we know him as DL. Yeah. And I actually got a chance to see that interaction, like how you interact with the kids and how the kids react to you earlier this year
when we did a charity event at what school was that?
That's right.
Yeah,
that was Charles Barrett Elementary.
That was. We did
right.
We teamed up with Claim It and did a charity event and gave out some toys to the little ones. So I saw how they looked up to you and how there was that level of respect, but they still felt comfortable with you. So that was very, very nice.
Yeah.
Have any of those kids said anything about the rubber duckies? Did they enjoy them?
The parents.
The parents gave you feedback?
They gave a lot of feedback because that school is a they call it STEAM school.
Okay. What does that mean?
They just went over to technology and science and math. And so when you called and Claim It said they would give us some technology-driven toys, parents were loving it. Yeah. It was the first time anything has been done for that school inside of Watts.
Wow.
So,
those kids were so excited. So I'm glad we had the opportunity to do that. But you, moving forward, you've had some wonderful things going on. I have an intro video that I want to show. Okay. This kind of gives a clip and gives everybody an idea of what's been going on with B2G and gives everybody an idea of what B2G is. Okay. And not only, let me just say this, not only does Officer Linton, I feel so weird calling you just Keith Linton. I feel like that's a little informal, so I'll say Officer Linton. Not only does Officer Linton mentor young men, but he also mentors young ladies. Right. And that's kind of like the spin-off program for B2G. And what is that called?
It's called Girls to Young Ladies.
Okay, Girls to Young Ladies. And they've done some exciting things this year, too. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Do we have the video up and running? Okay, so let's check out this video, and we'll be right back with more from Keith Linton.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we will be sure. Oh, glory, 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 oh, glory, glory. Hands to the heavens, no man, no weapon formed against, yes, glory is destined. Everyday women and men become legends. Sins that go against our skin become blessings. The movement is a rhythm to us. Freedom is like religion to us. Justice is juxtaposition in us. Justice for all just ain't specific enough. One son died, the spirit is revisiting us. True and living in us. Resistance is us. That's why Rosa sat on the bus. That's why we walk through Ferguson with our hands up. When it go down, we woman and man up. They say stay down, and we stand up. Shots, we on the ground, the camera panned up. King pointed to the mountaintop, and we ran up.
Love that video. And I also want to shout out the person who made that video, who happens to be your daughter, right?
Yeah, Caitlin.
Shout out to Caitlin for doing an amazing job putting that video together. She's 16?
Caitlin is 16, and she is an entrepreneur. Okay. I did have to pay for that video.
He did have to pay for that. So shout out to you, Caitlin. I'm not mad at you. Charge for your services. But you said in the video, there's a clip where you said that you walked away, like we just said a little bit ago, from a 13-year career with the LAPD to start the program. But you said you wanted to start the healing process of the young men in the inner city. Right. So talk about what healing process you had in mind, that what you actually wanted to start to see, what changes you wanted to start to see in the city.
Okay, well, as you just stated, I was on patrol for about 13 years. Mm-hmm. I worked 2 years in 77th Division. Okay. And I worked 8 years in Southeast Division.
So what's the 77th Division? Like what area is that?
That would be, like 76 and Broadway. Okay. The area we're in now is called Southwest Division. Okay. Then you have your traffic division here too. Mm-hmm. But Southeast, when I arrived there in, let's say, I think it was 2008, mm-hmm. I only asked to go to Southeast because at the time we had a SWAT officer, Randall Simmons, who was killed in the line of duty.
Oh, wow.
And the work that you see B to G doing, Randy was doing the work inside all the housing developments on and off duty, and no one knew about it until he passed away. So when you talk about the healing process, in 2008, we had every day, up until the time I got there, 2008, so from 1998 to 2008, for 10 years, every day every day of the year except for, I think it was 5 days, there was a murder.
Wow.
Or homicide.
Wow.
And it became the norm to where you wouldn't see it on the news.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a patrol officer, we have all the time in the world to investigate, to do spirit of the law, where I'm educating you on what you did wrong, or letter of the law, where I'm saying, here's your ticket. I like to practice spirit of the law, especially in the neighborhood I was patrolling, and I tried to educate the young men on what they did wrong, and whether it be a traffic ticket or not a major crime. But the healing that I'm talking about is, we had 7, 8, 9-year-old young men that when I showed up to a murder scene, they were standing right next to me, and they were telling me who it was that they saw on the ground laying dead. And so the story that a lot of people don't hear is now this little young man has to get up and try to make it to school, because maybe he has to cross boundaries of, maybe he's going to cross Bounty Hunter Bloods or PJ Crips or Jordan Downs where they're Crips. And now he has to worry about, how am I going to get to school? But before he's worrying how he's going to get to school, he's thinking about the murder he just saw. So that's PTSD. Then he's thinking about if mom's at work working 2 jobs where I'm eating. And I saw that a lot.
Wow.
And I thought, as a patrol officer, yes, I was serving and protecting, but I felt like my dream was to be a youth advocate and a community advocate for a community that reminded me of where part of my life was growing up in Brownsville Projects in New York. And so I left LAPD, and my dream was to be a youth advocate and be a voice for those people in the community that felt like they didn't have a voice.
Right.
And to get Watts, where I was doing patrol work, that I felt it was forgotten. I felt the people of Watts were forgotten. I felt some of our people in Los Angeles were forgotten. And I wanted to be that one officer that stepped away and then was working amongst the people 7 days a week, now as a regular citizen. So through the curriculum and through noticing PTSD and offering services for that, I think we're starting the healing where they could see that there's something positive. There's so much negative that you see on the news, but you don't see the positive people and the positive things taking place in the city like Watts or Los Angeles. You don't hear about that.
Right.
You only hear about the negative things, and they've got some great people that live in those housing developments.
Right.
If we talk about, I've talked about my mom.
Yeah.
But my mom has a son who was an LAPD officer, now a CEO of a company, a daughter who's a teacher who has 2 masters, another daughter who's in public service. So you have good people that, unfortunately, they have some circumstance that have placed them in the housing development, but you have some awesome people that reside in the housing developments.
Wow.
And so I wanted to step out of patrol, to step back in the community, to let them know, hey, yeah, I was once an officer, but I'm fighting the fight like you are now. I'm with you. So.
And that's wonderful. Why do you think that, or how do you think that helps the kids? Because I know you're doing now. You guys are working on community policing, or actually policing tactics. You're teaching the kids about their rights with the police, right?
Right.
So tell us a little bit about that, because I know your background in policing is obviously helping with that.
Well, I'll take like Diego Rivera High School. I'm at that high school this year. That's where Eamon Rod's teaching. I'm at a couple of middle schools, and the young men, they have more of a voice. So they're more real with me. They'll tell me, hey, you're cool, but when we leave out of school, we're getting pulled over, and, they're harassing us. And so I used to think that, too, before I became an officer, was harassment. But then I learned about probable cause, and reasonable suspicion and why officers do what they do. And then I learned that there's rights for citizens also. If you know your rights, you don't have to have your vehicle searched. If you know your rights, then you know there's a warrant that needs to be served. And so I love the badge. LAPD, for me, means a lot. But also, people need to know that they have rights.
Right.
And if you don't educate yourself, it's all over the internet, it's in books, and I teach my young men, you have to, if the knowledge is out there, you have the internet now, all you have to do is educate yourself. You can educate yourself on what a traffic ticket is, what a limit line is at a stop sign, how you, and then it's just, the whole thing about your interaction with officers, it's just a respect thing. That's all. It's how it, and we talk about this a lot. This is a little bit off the subject, but I ask the kids, what is the greatest weapon that you know in Los Angeles? And they'll say, oh, a gun. The knife, some silly ones, bazooka. This silly question. But then I say, the weapon that I know is just the power of a word. That's what starts all these wars that we have, these turf wars, people running guns, our drug epidemics. It starts first with the power of the word.
Right, that's true.
And that, your word is if you're talking to an officer and you just show respect and you show that you can actually be a young man and look someone in the face and talk with respect, usually you start to de-escalate a situation. But if you get out of a car, and even though, officers are not perfect, every company has some person that's just not right. So we don't always make the best decisions.
Right.
But even with that, if you get out your car and you're at this point, well, you know, an officer, you know, they're going to go above that point.
Right.
And even though officers are supposed to know, we are experts on de-escalation and on escalation. We are supposed to be the ones to calm the scene.
Right.
But you have, just like in every company, you have some officers that sometimes they forget that. And so you have citizens that are grown men, and they're like, I just want to be treated like a grown man. And so it's both ways, but I think with my young men, what I teach them is it's all about, everything's about respect and how you say it.
What are some of the rights that you teach the kids about? Like, give me like 3 of the rights that you teach them to know. Like, know your rights, know right A, B, and C.
It's like a student bill of rights. It's a broad statement, but you have the right to do anything you want in this world. You have the right to work hard and hard work and good effort, and you have the right to gain that knowledge. So I tell them, if you don't know something, you can go. They love the internet. They love YouTube. You can go on there.
YouTube it.
You can YouTube and say, what are my rights as a youth walking on the street when dealing with police? And so I don't tell them their exact right, but I let them know you have a right to be in this neighborhood and not to be looked down upon because of where you live in your circumstance. You have a right of knowledge. You have a right to education.
Right.
And through that and through reading, you can learn your rights when approached by an officer also.
Nice. What are some of the experiences that the students have said that they've had with law enforcement?
Well, in the area that I work in now and used to patrol, you have 5 housing developments, and they're not separated. They're only separated by maybe 2 or 3 miles. And sometimes it depends if something's going on in the neighborhood, let's say Nickerson or Jordan. You may have officers looking for a specific group of people. And I'm teaching my young men that sometimes you have to watch who it is you're hanging out with. Because
watch the company you keep.
You have to watch the company you keep. Because it might not even be you.
Right.
But you might be with someone that is going to be questioned. And if you're with someone that's going to be questioned and they stop that person, you yourself might be questioned.
Right.
But you have a right. You have the right to ask, why am I being stopped? What did I do? And if you say it in a respectful way, officers that I work with, all the officers that I had the pleasure of working with, they're going to sit down, they're going to explain to you, especially if you're a youth,
right,
this is what you did. This is who this is. This is why we put you over. Here's my serial number. Here's my card. Any questions, come to Southeast Station. Mm-hmm. So when I came before the 2 years ago, I was part of something called Community Safety Partnership.
Okay.
CSP. It was 40 officers out of 10,000 that were picked to go on 10 to each housing development. And those group of brothers that I work with, those are the officers I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. We were the officers that were put into the community to show the community that you have officers that look like you in uniform. Right. And instead of me standing over you with my gun on my hip, mm-hmm. ready to go, mm-hmm. I'm actually sitting on your stoop. And we're talking about, did you see the Bulls last night? Yeah. Did you see LeBron? Yeah. Are those the new LeBrons there? Yeah. And they're looking at, are you wearing Jordans with your uniform? Right. That's the way you start building community policing, mm-hmm. by actually going into a neighborhood like Jordan Downs. Instead of occupying it, mm-hmm. you're actually there to help people, mm-hmm. help them find jobs, mm-hmm. help them if their house gets broken into, help them if their car gets broken into. If you can give a traffic ticket or a parking ticket, maybe hold off, because you know rent is maybe a little bit cheaper. And if they're barely struggling to pay rent, well, how do you expect them to pay a parking ticket? Right. And I would tell my young officers when I was in patrol that we have all the time in the world we need for an investigation. So I would think about, if I'm giving you a ticket, the whole circle of it, knowing that you can't even pay rent, you maybe can't pay rent, mm-hmm. and if I give you a ticket to take your car, well, now how are you getting to work? Right. Now you might have to cross into bounty hunters or PJ Crips, or what if there's a war going on, you're not going to get your car. Right. And if you show up to the station to get your car, are you now worried about maybe you shouldn't get it because maybe they might check and see if I have a warrant in the system? Right. And then I'm thinking about the domestic violence situation, because now you're going home to your girl or your wife, and you're saying, my car got taken. Right. That fuels an argument. So I was the officer that I would think about the whole circumstance, the whole circle. Right. And then that way I would say, you know what, today I'm going to cut you a break. Just come on, man, you can't be parking here. And people, because I respected them and gave them a chance, that went a long way with me being a community officer in every neighborhood that I was in, because they knew Officer Linton, he wasn't there to occupy, he's here to help us. Just to help, yeah. Right. Yeah, and that does make a difference with people, no matter where you are. Right. And, sometimes people make mistakes and need a break. So kudos to you for doing that. So, and all that, that helped transfer me to being Boys and Gentlemen, where over 4,000 kids in a former officers program. Right. Where we're having issues on CNN and on Fox with community policing. Mm-hmm. Well, I have 4,000 kids and families in a program ran by a former officer. So I don't think people really have an issue with the officer. It's all about treat me as a human being with respect. Mm-hmm. If officers and vice versa, if we could do that, we're good. That would be amazing. Right. But it's great that you're equipping the young men with the skills on how to get out of a police interaction alive. Yes. And that's the key. That is the key. Because unfortunately, not every, like you said, there's always a bad apple in the group. So not every officer is going to be respectful. Not every officer is going to, like you said, look at the whole scope or look at the whole picture, the whole story of someone's life or, their situation. So I just take my hat off to you for at least equipping the young men on how to, successfully encounter the police when they do, because they definitely will. Right. So you have some other amazing things going on. You guys have conducted over 30 field trips already this year? 30 this year. When did the school year start? August the 14th. Whoa, we're almost in November. We're not even in November yet. Right. So where are you guys going? We did 25 trips, and I was blessed enough to partner with the Sparks this year. Yeah, I saw that. Well, don't talk about that yet. Okay. We're going to get into that. So that was one of the trips. Well, that was a lot of the trips that we are able to go on. Mm-hmm. I was blessed enough to partner with the Dodgers. I saw that, and I wanted to talk to you about that. So the kids went to the Dodgers game. Right. The Dodgers are now
in the World Series.
Right.
Go figure. Have they said anything to you about that? Between, I guess, the past few days? Within the past few days?
Well, some of the kids have said, like, we are a part of that.
Yeah.
We're a part of this history. We didn't sit and go to, and nothing against, but back in the day, we remember how the Clippers used to be.
Right, they weren't.
So if you got a free ticket to the Clipper game, it was cool.
Yeah.
But they're like, we got tickets to a team that's playing for the World Series. We were there. We were watching, everyone play.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
And how did that come about?
I basically, we've talked before.
Mm-hmm.
My belief about life, I really believe in law of attraction.
Yes.
I believe in putting it out there. I believe in positive vibes.
Mm-hmm.
The negative stuff, I tried to stay away from.
Right.
So with the Dodgers, I walked into Dodger Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I put it out there and said, hey, I'm a former officer. This is what I'm trying to do for youth in L.A. who have never been to a game. Mm-hmm. This will be the farthest they've come out of a housing development. Mm. And I got a couple of calls back. I sent a couple of emails to Magic. Oh, and wow. I did not get an email back from him.
Right.
But his community relations department called me back and said, we have 100 tickets. We have meal tickets. We have,
oh, my gosh.
We have buses. We have T-shirts.
Wow.
What schools do you want to come? And
so how many students went? 100?
The Dodgers, since I've had a partnership with the Dodgers, they have sent over 1,000 kids from B to G. And not only do they send them to the game, we've had huge buses, official Dodger buses.
Wow.
Meal tickets.
Wow.
Hats, T-shirts, and great seats to where they're treated like, and they're on the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
So,
that's
it's
exciting.
Changing lives.
Yeah. So how do you, like, when they come back from these wonderful field trips that they've been on this year, what kind of changes in their attitudes do you see? Do you see like a confidence booster? What do you see change with them? Because it's got to spark some kind of inspiration in them when they're given these opportunities to have fun, but they're exposed to something like you said that they've never been exposed to before. What changes in their attitudes have you noticed?
Well, and the biggest thing with B2G this year is I'm working on a mindset shift.
Yeah.
And I believe the greatest thing that you can change in a person is their mindset. Right. Because you can change, you can have surgery, you can change your outfit to suit my hairstyle, I don't have any hair, but my beard. You can change anything you want, but if you're not changing your mindset, then you really haven't changed anything. Mm-hmm. So the thing that I've seen with all these trips and with the program is I've seen a shift in their mindset. And it's like I'm sitting next to a guy who really wasn't talking too much, but now he's talking to me. He's leaning over and he's saying, hey, Officer Linton, I think I could be a baseball player. But before I do that, I need to get in some speaking classes. I need to know about my math because I'm going to get that big contract. So they're thinking more than I'm thinking. He's thinking, I want to be a baseball player.
But I want to be prepared when the opportunity comes.
Right. So we'll have a class after. Yeah. And I'll say, you want to be a baseball player? Well, do you know you have to know about numbers? Because when they give you your big contract, do you know what you're signing? Do you know how to read? Because you have to know how to read. Can you carry yourself? Have you wore a suit or a tie before? Do you know how to speak to another man without arguing? So now it starts to encompass everything that B2G is about. And it's not just about being a baseball player. It's about having a foundation to where you're a baseball player and you're in front of a mic, you speak well. Right. Your finances are okay. Right. You're not getting into trouble off the field because you're out of control. Right. So now your finances are in order. You know how to read. You know how to speak well. You know how to do your math. So you're doing your own books, and no agent is cheating you out of $40 and $50 million. Right. So we have the game, but then after the game, we talk about, oh, you want to be a baseball player? Hard work and effort is what it takes. But here you have these building blocks that you must educate yourself. Even if you're the greatest ball player, you have to be educated. You have to know
that foundation's got to be there.
So I've seen a rise in confidence, but it's not about the baseball. I just see a mindset shift. And in this program this year, that's the most important thing
focus.
This year. Yeah.
That's great. And I know you guys have been working on meditation. We're going to get into that, but we're going to take a quick break before we do. because I know you've been doing a lot of meditating. And you started that actually last year, I believe, right?
I did.
But you're doing it a little bit more
I am.
now. Okay. So we'll talk about that as soon as we get back from break. We're going to take a quick break. Here is Mariah Carey with Honey. It's a throwback joint.
Oh, honey got me hooked on you.
I like that.
On the world we won't stop. And Mariah, you on fire.
Welcome back to The Scoop. That was Mariah Carey with Honey, a little throwback joint for you. We are here in studio hanging out with the founder of B2G, Boys Mentorship Program, Officer Keith Linton. Thanks for hanging out with us, Keith. Okay, so before we went to break, we were talking about how you're focusing on the kids' mindsets a lot more this year. Now meditation is not new to them. You've introduced this to them before, and they took well to it. They all liked it. Right. I could tell from the videos. So what's so different now? Like what exactly are you doing now with meditation techniques and the restorative circles? I guess that's what you're calling it.
Right. Well, I implemented the meditation. It's called Calm Classroom.
Okay.
It's a thing that was studied at UCLA, and UCLA brought it to an area school in Los Angeles just to pilot it. Mm-hmm. I was fortunate enough to be there and was actually trained on how the brain works for a youth and how this meditation would actually help a youth dealing with maybe PTSD. 65% of the young men that I work with have some sort of PTSD.
Okay.
And they're only, I work from ages 8 up to 16, 17.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so I have 8-year-olds who are suffering from PTSD from what they've seen just in their community.
Right.
So that's why I thought, I'm doing all this stuff, how to tie, speeches, speaking, our stocks and bonds. But what am I doing really to reset their mind? And so how it works, and you've seen it, is I'll sit everyone down, and we have our squad leaders, and we have a class leader. I will teach my squad leaders and class leaders first how to meditate, how to breathe in, breathe out, how to feel your feet on the floor, and then close your eyes, and then they teach the class. And so what is done now is, it might be in the morning, 8:30 in the morning. So we'll do it for the first, we'll send a circle.
Okay.
And they all close their eyes.
That's the best time to do it.
Right.
Okay.
They'll close their eyes. They're coming back from recess, eating. And what it does, it helps them to clear out any clutter from the night before, anything that just happened in the morning. And then after we open our eyes, I'll ask them, how do you feel? And they say, I feel calm. I feel positive. I'm ready to learn.
Okay.
And then at that point, we get into something called restorative circle.
Okay.
And what that is LA Unified School District, they're trying to adopt almost like a new discipline policy. Restorative justice hasn't just started here in Los Angeles, but back east, they have where you get in trouble and you're not going to the principal's office. You're going to a meditation room, and they're calming you, and then they're giving you a voice. So what I do, they thought when we first started B2G that I was going to be in the face, scared straight, and I let them know I was never that officer.
Right.
I'm not like that. How I am is how I am. And so we would sit all the youth in a circle, and what it does, it gives them a voice. So by the end of 30 minutes, they're telling you why they did what they did, what can they do better. And we've had the meditation, so now they're feeling positive, and they're knowing what was wrong and what was right. And what I've learned in the last 2 years of working in these schools is that our young men, they have this thing where they think that it's cool to be bad. If someone tells me I'm bad, then I'm even going to be badder, and I'm going to act up in class. I'm a good kid, but I have this thing at school now, they think I'm bad.
Right.
And so with B2G,
so I got to live up to that.
Right. And with B2G, I let them know when we first start that the philosophy of Boys and Gentlemen and Girls and Young Ladies is that I don't believe that there's bad kids. I just believe that some of our young kids are making some bad choices. And the cool thing about that is if you're making a bad choice, it's always the right time to make the right choice. And so it's all about mindset. So now they leave knowing that, okay. I'm not this bad kid sent to a program.
Right.
I'm a kid that made a bad choice, but this is not an at-risk program. It's a program for leaders. So I even changed the wording now of the program. It used to be at risk, but I'm driving home like I'm at risk on this freeway. I mean, we're all at risk for something. We're all
at risk, yeah.
And I don't want a young man going home with a paperwork that says, I'm in an at-risk program, because now how's he feeling? Now I just made him feel this much lower. So now I'm picking you because I think you're a leader, but you may be leading in the wrong direction. I want you to lead in the right direction. I'm going to pick you for a leadership program. And the kids that I'm picking are kids that would normally not get picked. So the fact that now they're going home telling mom,
I'm in a leadership program.
Right, little JoJo, who mom knows is a mess.
Right.
Telling her, I'm in a leadership program. That's helping mom to feel better. That's helping mom to see what's going on at the school, so now I want to be active. And that's helping little Joe to say, man, he's giving me a chance. And that's what it's about.
Right.
Young men in this community, all they want is a chance, an opportunity. And so I know that from being a young man.
Right.
I was given a chance and opportunity by LAPD with hard work and effort to open up all kind of doors for me. So, boys and gentlemen, while we do all the meditation and everything, it comes down, I'm just trying to get these kids an open mindset and give them a chance and opportunity. That's all.
And you said it gives them a new way of looking at discipline as well, right?
Yes.
So explain that to me. What is that? What does that mean?
When I first started 2 years ago, I would go into a classroom, I would see a teacher, and she would say, for example, Isaac, that's it, get out. He goes to the office, he's suspended. Now what? He's at home. Mom and dad's not at home. So what is he doing? He's missing out on English, math. He's behind. Isaac comes to school the next day, doesn't know the math problem. So now Isaac is getting in trouble on purpose. Good kid. But he's fell behind so much because the school has disciplined him. Instead of disciplining him and re-entering him back into the school culture, climate, they send him home. So now Isaac doesn't know what 25 times 25 is. And so before they call on me, I'm going to get sent out because I know what the school's going to do. I'm going to play the school now because they're going to send me out and I'm going to get home. I'm going to be doing whatever I want to do with my little homies. So they try to curb that by instituting restorative justice and having teachers say, you know what, let's work with these kids one-on-one. Instead of kicking them out of school, how about we reset them, talk about what they did, have them reflect, and let's get them back into class because we're seeing our test scores go down. We're seeing our absences go up. And so Boys and Gentlemen came in and I said, well, let me try because most schools want a 97% attendance rate. That's a big thing. And when Boys and Gentlemen, when I'm on campus, 98% of my young men are on campus. So how much is that worth?
Yeah.
You know, when Boys and Gentlemen, when we're in session, you can count on 98% of your young men that's in my program, they will be on campus. Now, they might be messing up a little bit, but they'll be on campus. And they won't be suspended. Instead, now all schools are doing restorative justice to where you're going to reflect on what you did. Can you own up to it? Can you man up? And if you can, let's reset you and get you back into the classroom.
Right.
And get you back in the books.
Right.
So.
And what is the idea of discipline being freedom? What does that mean? Because I saw that in some of your posts, that discipline is freedom. So what does that mean?
That's something that I learned when I first went to the police academy, where you have to wake up at 3 in the morning, be at the academy at 4 in the morning, suit on. And I hated the discipline aspect, hated it. But I learned that through me disciplining myself with, they call it learning domains. That's learning your history, your law, grappling, how to hold a gun, all that. When I disciplined myself enough at night, even though I was tired, and I read the material and I studied, man, when I got to the academy the next day, I felt so free because I was ready. I was ready for whatever my sergeant would ask me. I was ready because I was disciplined enough to be in my books.
Right.
And so I apply that in my life. There's times I get home, I don't want to go in the gym, but I know that I need to be disciplined because that half hour is going to give me a little bit more freedom tomorrow.
Right.
So I teach the kids, like, discipline is freedom. You want to play your PS4, don't you? But when you get home, if you're studying, you're in your books. If you're studying, you're getting those grades. That's going to free up time for you to do what you want to do.
Exactly.
If you're disciplined, like, you just can't have a radio show and show up to work and be like, let's go.
Right.
I can't just have my program. If I'm disciplined enough with data, with curriculum, with preparing myself mentally and physically, being that example, then the program, it can't fail.
Right.
And that's going to give me freedom to actually go into, like we were talking, Baltimore, different cities that need the program.
Right.
So now I love discipline. It's
having
it's
that
my
order.
freedom.
Having that order.
You have to have it.
Yep.
So.
We have a video. We have that "Discipline is Freedom" video that the kids you guys will see when it comes on. But this is just the idea and the illustration behind "Discipline is Freedom." So that should be on in just a moment. You don't have it yet? Okay. That's cute. So what exactly does that teach them?
Well, when you
do that,
right? What you saw there is that is a class leader that was picked.
Okay.
So you have an assistant and you have a class leader. Mm-hmm. What you have are different squads. Now, what you didn't see, one of the assistant class leaders had got kicked out of class, had just got back from the principal's office, was about to cry, and was like, they don't give me any chances here. I'm giving up. And so I pulled him aside and I was like, I'm going to make you the assistant class leader because I'm giving you a chance. And even though you're principal and everyone's going to look at all of a sudden like I'm crazy, that's what we're about. We all make mistakes. Be the G's about giving you a chance. So if you don't make it, that's going to be on you, not Officer Linton. And so I said, now you're in charge of this squad, and we need to be disciplined. So when we line up for our class, we're not going to be like the other young men. All the other young men are going to see you guys at attention because it's not easy to do that. That's discipline. And if you give me 150% of discipline, it's going to transfer into your classroom. So I do that because it helps their mindset. So when they're in class, they're not at attention, but when they're sitting in their seat, they're not sitting like this now.
Right.
Now they're sitting
up,
because it's been drilled to them from what we do here. Now they're sitting at attention.
Right.
And now they're saying, if you heard them, they was like, yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's not because I want to hear them say yes, sir. It's because if I'm talking to a 13-year-old, I'll say, sir, how's your day? Now they're going back into the classroom, and that teacher that is waiting for a little Isaac to mess up, he's singing like this. And he's saying, yes, ma'am, what page? And teachers are coming up to me saying, I don't know what's going on. But just that simple yes, ma'am.
Right.
Or yes, sir.
Right.
And them sitting up straight in the chair shows that they're ready to learn. So you see that, but the point behind that is so it transfers to the classroom, and then they can feel like, hey, I'm a leader. I led this whole class.
Right.
And so when they go back to the classroom, they see a squad member, and they're telling them, I see it in class. They're saying, hey, sit up. And so now they're sitting up, and they're not saying, hey, what you say? They're saying, excuse me, sir, I didn't hear what you said. Can you repeat that? And the teachers in Los Angeles Unified, they don't get that. And so when they start to get that respect, grades go up. People are not sent out the classroom. We've had, at some schools, a 60% reduction in behavioral referrals.
Wow.
Just by body language.
Wow.
Just by that simple, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. And just by sitting at your desk like you're ready to get ready. You're ready to start.
Now, you guys, we're going to show this this video in a little bit, but you guys have also started, and this is kind of going into discipline and presentation and how the kids are learning to present themselves. You guys started the tie lessons on how to tie your tie, which is amazing because sadly, probably, some of the students may not have fathers at home to teach them that. Right. So how did, what prompted you to start this lesson plan?
I did not learn how to tie a tie until I was in the police academy.
Oh, wow.
And I had a clip on. My drill sergeant came up to me and was like, and I was very embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because I was 27 going on 28, and I never knew how to tie a tie. I never thought I really needed. I always thought it would be cool and just wear a shirt without a tie. And so I was thinking, what is B2G? We're talking about the essence of a gentleman. And how cool could it be if a 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old knew how to tie a tie? And now I have 7 and 8-year-olds coming back saying, hey, Officer Linton, I helped my dad to tie a tie, and you're 7 and 8. So, we're not only are we helping to tie ties, but as we were talking about before, this year Boys to Gentlemen will put on its first son-mother dance.
Oh, that's going to be nice.
Right.
So what does that entail?
Well, all our young men, hopefully, will be in a suit.
Okay.
And a tie.
All right.
And they get to dance with mom.
Yeah.
They get to serve mom dinner.
And this is going to be for Mother's Day?
It's going to be the week after. There's a couple of schools that we're going to do. Okay. But they're going to get to serve their mother or grandmother, whoever is the woman in their life, pull out their chair. Aww. They're going to be like a little waiter, serving food. Yeah. Then they're going to dance together. They're going to give their moms awards. And then they're going to see them in a nice suit and tie, being a little gentleman.
That's going to be nice. Yeah, I love that. I can't wait to see the videos from that. Yeah. I think we have the video for them learning how to tie the tie. There's a couple of them, actually, that we have. Who's this young man? Let's see.
Hi, my name is Devin, and I'm representing from Woodcross Elementary School, and I'm going to show you guys. I'm 9 years old, and I'm going to show you guys how to tie a tie. Okay. So this is rule number 1. So I'm going to tie it over. The big one's going to be over like this. Okay. Then I'm going to wrap it around.
Yes, sir.
Through the bottom. Okay. And after that, as you can see, it's like this. I wrapped it over.
Right.
And after that, I'm going to put it under through my neck.
Yes, sir.
Then after that, as you can see the tunnel right here.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it through the tunnel.
Yes, that little tie knot. I like that. Okay.
To put this.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Devin now.
And I think we have one more. Devin's a cutie. Oh, well, we'll come back to that one. But that looks difficult. I don't think I would be able to tie a tie. I'm so glad I was born a woman because I don't think how many steps is that? 5, 6, 7 steps?
I teach them in 6. The 7th step is, of course, when they tie it, making sure it looks sharp and it's behind, but about 6.
Jeez. Yeah. Okay, here's the second video. Let's see how this little one does.
We're at 92nd Street Elementary. How old are you?
12.
12-year-old. And how are you?
11.
A 12-year-old young man teaching an 11-year-old young man how to tie a tie. Part of the BJG curriculum here at 92nd Street Elementary. Right outside of Grape Street, Jordan Downs.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's cute. And he was fast. He was real confident with it. I love it. I love it. How long did it take for them to get it down? How many times did you have to go over? Because, like I said, it's a lot of steps.
It's a 5-week curriculum.
Oh, okay.
Because we get into it to where it's a story behind it.
Okay.
So now we act like they're staring in front of the mirror. You're about to go out. Who's your date? And Holly Berry, what kind of car are you driving? Where do you live? And, they're thinking about
Halle
mansions.
Berry's
And
my
so,
date. Rihanna, Beyonce.
Right. So it's a 5-week curriculum that we do.
Wow. Yeah, they're really good at it. That's amazing. Now, you like you were saying earlier, a lot of times in these inner cities, there's some really good people and gifted students and just standout, situations that don't get attention, that don't get shine because it's outshined by the negativity.
Right.
But you have some gifted students in your program as well, right? So one young man I saw, he actually tested as a gifted student. What exactly does that mean?
We were having some issues with this young man to where he was, every time I came to the school, he was in the office.
Okay.
And his problem was every question, he was answering every question.
Right.
And he wouldn't raise his hand. He was just blurting out answers left and right. And so they didn't know, what should we test him? Is something wrong? Is he suffering from PTSD? Does he have a mental disorder? They tested him, and he scored high on all his tests, and he tested as gifted.
Oh, wow.
So he's been moved to another class, almost like an AP class.
Right.
Because, no, he's not a problem. He's just naturally gifted.
Yeah, and he's probably bored.
Right. So he knows if your history, I know it. So he'll start answering without holding his hand up because he's just so gifted.
Yeah, it's just naturally coming to him. Yeah, I think we have a video of him. Do we have that video ready? Okay.
My name is Andrew Maximum Williams. I'm in 3rd grade. I'm 9 years old. And I just took a test for being gifted, and I found out that I'm gifted about 1 week later. And that makes me very proud to know that I'm gifted. And I know that other people are out there, and they could be gifted too.
And how old are you?
I'm 9.
And what program are you a part of here at 66?
I'm a part of B2G.
Are you one of our leaders?
Yep, I'm a co-leader in Boys to Gentlemen.
Well, I just want to let you know that, Officer Lynn, I'm very proud of you. It's really cool to hear that one of my little young men have been tested as gifted. You're going to go a long way, sir. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I love that.
My name is Andrew.
Andrew.
Right.
So, what did you have a conversation with him after he was tested gifted, and just kind of let him know? Because I can only imagine the fact that he was, since he was getting sent out of class for blurting out answers, I can only imagine how that probably made him feel like, am I doing something wrong?
Right.
I know the answer. I honestly know, but I'm being punished for knowing the answer.
Right.
So did you guys have a conversation with him like, hey, it's okay to answer questions that you know the answer to, and it's okay to be smart, and we're not punishing you for that. So does he understand that at this point?
Andrew, he understands that now, and why I made him a co-leader is because I let him know, you may know all the answers, but how about letting some of the kids try to answer, and then when they can't answer, how about now you can help them out? And you can show them in the book, hey, this is where it is. I said, so I'm going to make you a leader. You can be a leader for our 3rd grade for B2G, and I'm going to ask some questions about essence of a gentleman and all that. I don't want you to blur it out, but I want you to help the other kids. And so instead of blurring out, you can raise your hand and say, hey, can I help?
Right.
And so that's what he does. Now he's more of a leader where he knows, hey, part of being an essence of a gentleman is letting people go first sometime, raising your hand, not blurting out answers. And so now he's doing better. Yeah,
Wow.
Andrew's doing much better.
So what does Andrew say he wants to be when he gets older? Has he discussed any
He hasn't discussed
career aspirations?
but Andrew's a great debater.
Oh, okay.
So he can debate and tell you why something should be the way it is.
Oh, so maybe we
So-
have an attorney.
Right. He's a very intelligent kid.
Okay. All right. I love that. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we take a quick break? We'll come back with more. I want to get into what the young ladies have been doing. The Girls to Young Ladies spinoff program that you have started with under B2G. So I'm really excited to hear more about that. So let's take a quick break. Let's see what song is up next. Get to the point. Oh, this is J. Cole, Apparently. Welcome back to The Scoop, you guys. That was J. Cole with Apparently. I'm your host, Ashley Marie. We're hanging out with the creator of the boys' mentorship program, Officer Keith Linton, the creator of Boys to Gentlemen and Girls to Young Ladies, which we're going to talk about now. So Girls to Young Ladies, like we were saying before the break, is basically, I don't want to call it the spinoff, but it's like the sister program
Right.
sister program for B2G.
Right.
So you've taken how many young ladies now? About 100, you said?
We have about 100 right now.
100 young ladies from different schools around LA.
Right.
And they are participating in some of the programs that
Right.
you've put together and as well as some of the activities and
Yes.
field trips.
Yes.
So just recently this year, earlier, a couple months ago,
Right.
you teamed up with the Sparks, right?
Yes.
You were telling us about that.
Right,
I think we
right.
have a couple pictures of that. Tell us about what happened.
You know, we
that.
teamed up with the Sparks, and before the Sparks played their game 3 of the championship game, they invited 50 girls. It was an all-girls camp.
Okay.
So you had Candace Parker. I mean, you had the main players teaching young women how to play sports, but it was bigger than that. They're trying to teach these young women that sports is one thing, but you can do whatever you want. And so it was a day of empowerment. I wasn't able to be there, but our young women that went, they came back to school saying, man, I didn't know I could be an engineer.
Oh, wow.
I want to be an author. It wasn't about wanting to be a stylist. They want to be they want to be in construction. They want to build the house.
Right.
So it was that just happened last month.
Okay, so that birthed some dreams in these young ladies.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I see Candace Parker in the shot with the young lady with the basketball.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
that's pretty neat. So I'm glad they got to experience that. And she's actually a really good player. I've never been to a WNBA game, and I just went to one last month. I say last month I went to one.
Right.
And I got to experience that. I was like, she's talented.
Yeah.
And they all are. All the ladies are.
Right.
But yeah, I do remember that. So I'm sure that was a great experience for the young ladies. So what else, like what curriculum and what are you implementing in the Girls to Young Ladies program?
Well, see, Girls to Young Ladies, I am currently vetting a president
Okay.
to run Girls to Young Ladies because it's a brand and Boys to Gentlemen, it works because of me running it and the young men knowing me. The reason why I have 100 young ladies in the program is because they actually wanted to be part of Boys to Gentlemen. Because they were coming in the class saying, "Hey, Officer Linton, Joe,
right.
he's
I
hitting me
be
on
a part of it.
he's hitting me. I want to tell you what we don't like as women."
Yeah.
So they started to come inside the restorative circle, and I would have Joe right here and maybe, I don't know, Alexis. And now Alexis is telling Joe what a young lady wants. We don't care about your Jordans and about how you sag your pants. I want a man that's going to take care of me, that can talk, that I feel protected. I don't like on recess when you're picking on me. If you like me, just tell. Like, these young women are telling the little boys, and little boys are like, Okay. So when I saw that, we kind of spun off a sister program. And there's times where I'll meet with them, and we'll just do one-on-one, like the Calm Classroom.
Yeah.
If they've been in trouble for behavior, we'll talk about what they could have did differently. I don't really touch too much on etiquette because I don't really think that's my place.
Okay.
And I can talk to the young ladies about etiquette, but I think it's going to be more meaningful from the future president of Girls to Young Ladies.
Okay.
But the one thing that I will say with the young women, and this is what I always in my class with the young women, because it really sticks. The young women, I think Girls to Young Ladies is going to be bigger than Boys to Gentlemen, because our young ladies, they really crave it. It sticks with them.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about, unfortunately, if their brother goes to jail. My young men, I have some young men that are doing great, but then they come up to me and say, "Oh, so Lynn, I can't be in your program. My brother just got arrested. I got to step in now. Either I got to step in at home, or I got to step in with the gang and take up where my brother was doing." But our young ladies are not like that. They retain it. And so one of the things that I live by and that we teach the young women is that I have them say that I am the only problem that I will ever have, and I am the only solution to my problem. That is teaching them that it's great to be in a relationship, but don't ever rely on a man or a young dude to give you everything you want. And you will be your only problem, and you are the only solution to your problem. That way, it teaches them about independence and about it's great, but let that other half that you have when you get older, let him add to your happiness. Don't let him be your happiness.
Be your happiness, exactly.
Let him add to your happiness. Let him see the value of what you have to offer. And if you have that attitude that I'm my own problem and I'm the only problem I will ever have, I'm the only solution, then you're not, even a young man, you're not relying on anyone.
Right.
Now, we all need help, but you're taking self-accountability for who you want to be and who you are.
Exactly.
So that's the main thing that I'm teaching the young ladies to, so where they don't have to depend on a young man. And if they do, it's because that young man's adding to their life and not taken away from it.
Exactly. I love that. I love that. So what do you teach them aside from, I guess, relationship skills, which is very important?
Right.
What else are they gaining from the program?
Well, the young ladies, they're getting some confidence.
Okay.
We do speaking skills, so we do speech club.
Nice.
We have a debate club.
Okay.
We do stocks and bonds where they invest and reinvest.
Okay.
And they actually also help the tie-ties.
Do they?
Because some of them have fathers at home, and they want to surprise their daddy.
Yeah.
We're showing them this is how you tie a tie.
Okay.
And so they take part also in our Calm Classroom meditation and our Restorative Circle.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Right.
So now you are now also implementing Health and Safety Hour. And this is at the 66th Street Elementary?
Right.
Okay. What is Health and Safety Hour?
Well, Health and Safety Hour starts at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Ooh, okay.
And I'm saying that because if you would like to come out, you can come to 66 in San Pedro.
Okay.
And we're looking for young men to help our young men on the field.
Okay.
Soccer, basketball, baseball, jungle gym.
Okay.
But what it does is we meet for about 20 minutes and we do the Calm Classroom.
Okay.
Where you do the meditation, we do the Restorative Circle.
Okay.
Get everyone thinking positive, and then we go out on the playground for about 30 minutes, and we're doing anything from running a mile to tag, where you're running.
Do you run with them?
I do not.
Okay.
But I do consider myself a dodgeball champion.
Okay.
And so I will. I don't care if they're 3 and 4.
Right.
If you want to get on the field, I'm gonna get on the field with you for dodgeball.
Right.
So we do some dodgeball, some soccer, flag football, basketball, and it's just in the state of California for our 5th graders. We're just trying to get them up for the challenge of passing that state test for their physical education.
Oh, wait, there's a state test for that?
Yeah, you have to pass certain. You have to run a mile in a certain time. You have our 5th grade young men. They have to pass certain tests. You have to be able to run a mile in a certain time.
I'm trying to think back to the 5th. Did I have to do that? I did?
Yeah.
Oh. Jeez. I don't remember that.
And probably the most important reason that health and safety started is because, as we were talking before, a lot of schools in Los Angeles lost a ton of money. Title I funding, and so when the school loses $125,000, they have to look at, do we let our PE teacher leave? Do we let a nurse leave? Do we let security leave? And I saw PE teachers being let go, and I said, I'm already in your school, 13 years as a LAPD veteran. I'm an expert in physical fitness. I'll help you. And so at 66th Street, we've been doing that now for about 2 months. What it's done is lessen referrals to the office. And it's all about empowerment and being positive.
Right.
And getting and being healthy.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Do you teach them about eating habits, healthy eating habits as well?
I teach them about eating clean.
Eating clean, okay.
And I'm a big proponent for alkaline water.
Okay.
So I don't expect them to drink alkaline water, but I tell them the difference between soda, water, juice, veggies. Yeah. And so I'm trying to get that into them at a young age, because when I was their age, if I had $1, I had a penny candy in New York. And so my lunch was gum, Annihilators, and all the candy I can get. I wasn't healthy
with
like
that $1.
Right. So we're trying to teach
everything.
Right.
Yeah,
so,
no, it's like that in school. I remember just even in high school, we would have pizza for lunch and nachos, and I think we had like Papa John's pizza, and then we had In-N-Out. We had all kinds of crazy stuff that we should not have been eating.
Right.
So yeah, that's great.
And they're kids. I want the kids to have fun, but we are in a nation to where diabetes and there's such a big epidemic on overweight and all that. And kids are kids. I want them to be kids, but I also want them to know the importance of eating correctly.
And that ties into the discipline is freedom.
Right.
Because if you're eating healthy or doing what you're supposed to do as far as you're eating 90% of the time, you can enjoy that 10%.
Yeah.
You've worked for that freedom.
Right.
So,
right.
So yeah, I think that's awesome. There was one thing that I wanted to ask you about, and I saw this on your Instagram page. It was you had a projection up that said, these are rules that adults have to follow. So what is that about? Is that showing them that, hey, adults have to follow rules too? I'm teaching you guys the foundation of following rules and respecting authority. So what exactly are the rules that adults have to follow that you teach them about? Well,
I also do professional development for teachers.
Oh, okay.
Because
I didn't know that.
Some of your, we talk about being absent. Sometimes your teachers are more absent than your kids. Oh. And then you're getting subs in the classroom. And these kids, our kids in this community, we're already dealing with detachment issues, abandonment issues. So consistency is important for a teacher. It's important for myself, because if I'm in a class and then they don't see me for a couple of weeks or months, they're wondering, man, did Officer Lynn leave me? Because last month, Daddy left, or this teacher left. Right. No one wants to be with us every day. So the rules are, because I came to a couple of classrooms, and we have an open discussion where we have real talk. It's called Real Talk. And they're talking about, we don't like the teachers don't like us. We got too many rules. And so I tell them, I say, you know what? Even though I'm a former officer, if I'm not here at 3 o'clock, it's a rule that I must follow. When I come into your class, I have to sign in. I'm an adult with 13 years of law enforcement experience, degrees, and I have to follow the rules. Rules are a part of life. So I try to put that up to let them know that your officer that's teaching you, I even have rules that I have to follow. And if I don't follow those rules, I can't be here on your campus.
Oh, wow.
There's no teaching. I can't have a steady job. I can't have that job turn into a career if there's no rules in my life. So the rules are not just for you. It's for adults also. And so when I do my teacher's preparation, and development. The rules I give to the adults is just about attitude.
Right.
Because I don't want to act like I'm letting them know that I appreciate first what they do.
Yeah.
Because I have a new respect for education and these educators and what they have to go through, especially my principals that I deal with on a daily at all my schools, my assistant principals. I don't know how they do what they do. But if you're a teacher and you come into the classroom and you're slamming things down and you're making, it's a cancer. And your kids, when you try to
Pick
teach,
up that attitude.
they're going to pick up the attitude. So it's about being positive. And I tell all my teachers, all the adults that, like we were talking about my grandfather. So for my family, 2 weeks ago was a bad week. But the mindset change is, you know what, last week for Officer Linton was a character building week.
Right.
And so why, if you're a teacher, instead of telling these kids who are in the 8 and 9, I'm just having a bad day, be quiet, how about starting that conversation saying, I had a character building weekend. Or this is just today, instead of a bad day, it's a character building day. Because that's what it is if you look at it that way.
Right.
If we have grown women and men coming to work, and we all have bad days. Life is not perfect. But if you can't focus enough to be in a child's life for that 5 hours, these teachers need to know that sometimes your mom, sometimes your dad, you might be the person who saves that kid's life that day. So if you're negative and destructive, these kids are going to be negative and destructive.
Right.
They're going to follow what you do.
Right.
So that's all. It's just simple rules about. Like I said, I'm big into looking at things differently.
Right.
I'm always seeing the silver lining.
Right.
And we all have some bad days.
Yeah.
But I like to say I'm having instead of a bad day, it's a character building
day. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
I do like that. So what is to come for B2G and girls to young ladies? I always get that acronym mixed up.
Well, you know, we're now coming into November.
Okay.
Thanksgiving's coming up. Christmas is coming up.
Okay.
So for some of my boys and gentlemen and some of my girls and young ladies, I know at Diego Rivera High School, me and Eamon, what we're going to do is we're going to do a community service to where we're going to go down to Central Division. What we're going to do, we're going to come together, make simple peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, a sack lunch, and we're going to be walking the streets of downtown L.A., helping the homeless, giving out free food. So we're gonna the thing is we're gonna really try to be big on community service for the second part of the year.
Right.
We're gonna be big on lessening these behavior referrals, showing data that shows that the program is actually helping kids stay in class. Because we talked about it last time, but I do classroom observation, and because we do classroom observation, I'm in the class with my students. That's cutting down on office referrals by 50%. We're working on helping these schools meet the goals of having 97% attendance rate.
Okay.
Another big thing is uniform. We're helping schools meet that by, I think you've seen the B2G shirt.
Yeah, we saw it. We have a picture of the kids. Yeah, I love that. So do they wear that on campus when you're there? Or they can just wear it throughout? Is that approved for them to wear it throughout the year if you're there or not?
Right.
Okay.
It's approved, but what I want to do is I always want to come to a school and not be the outside contractor per se.
Okay.
I want to be a part of the team. And so the vision this year is every student will have, let's say your polo, your uniform polo is blue. Well, you'll have a B2G polo that's blue. So that way, if you can't afford to buy a uniform shirt, now you have one. And now you're part of your uniform policy at the school, because that's big. With most schools, it's uniform, attendance, behavior referrals.
Yeah.
And then they get into the kids that are dealing with maybe autism and IEPs, which are individual education plans for those who are just a little bit learning a little bit in a different direction.
And this year you have a student with autism, right?
I have several.
Several, okay.
I have several.
How are you dealing with those
Usually,
situations?
With my young men with autism, I work with them one-on-one.
Okay.
And I'm learning more about autism. I'm learning every day now, because when I first started, I I didn't know who I had. But once you start to know a kid, you start to know this kid suffers from PTSD. Mm-hmm. This kid has autism. Mm-hmm. This kid has a stuttering problem. All kinds of different things that B to G we encompass. And so if I'm working with a kid with autism, I know now from data and from me working with him that a big classroom does not work well for someone with autism. It's just too much. And the gentleman that I'm working with now that I have some time on my Instagram, that day that I worked with him, he was getting made fun of because of his hair. And he's autistic, and sometimes when you're autistic, there's one thing that you know everything about. He schooled me on every type of truck that is made in America.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Every type. Peterbilt, all kinds of stuff that I didn't know about, but that's what he's good at. And so you have a 12-year-old telling me about trucks. And so it's important for me, if I'm working with someone that's autistic, it's forget B to G, it's more on that one-on-one time, and I'll just sit and listen. And if it's about trucks, then maybe that next week I'll bring him the Peterbilt truck. If it needs a haircut, as I did, I took out my clippers.
You cut his hair,
I
saw that, yeah.
And it's some of the things that I won't broadcast because, boys and gentlemen, if you see the Instagram and Facebook, which people will have the link to after this, there's some things that are very intimate,
right,
and shouldn't be publicized.
Right.
I did talk about the autistic because I wanted them to know that if you want your child to be in B to G, I don't care if they're pink, yellow, what their lifestyle is, we accept anyone because all we're trying to do is change lives.
Now, what if someone wants their child to be a part of B2G or Girls to Young Ladies, but you're not partnered with that specific school? Do you do anything outside of the school, the hours of, school?
Unfortunately, right now, I'm just with the schools.
Okay.
And so if you have a student or a parent that wants to be a part of B2G, soon that's coming.
Okay.
Where we're going to have an office and we're going to be offering after-school programming.
Nice.
So the vision is hopefully before the summer, you will have a place to where if you want your young man to be one-on-one counseled or your young lady, B2G will have an off-site office to where they can come in, they can get help with their homework, tutoring, and you can get that one-on-one time without having to pay any of those fees that you would normally pay for counseling.
Okay.
So it's coming.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. So we're running short on time, but I wanted to show this video. This is a part of our social media buzz.
Okay.
And this kind of ties into what you've been talking about as far as just positivity and taking ownership.
Yes.
And this is from Denzel Washington, actually talking to a group of students, I believe he was talking to, about just dreams and taking ownership for your life. So let's check it out.
Okay.
Dreams without goals remain dreams, just dreams, and ultimately fuel disappointment. Dreams without goals, yearly goals, life goals, daily goals, monthly goals, hourly goals, minute by minute goals. Dreams without goals are just dreams, and they ultimately fuel disappointment. Goals on the road to achievement cannot be achieved without discipline and consistency. You understand? Between goals and achievement are discipline and consistency. Dreams
between goals and achievement are discipline and consistency. I love that, and I'm sure you teach that to your young men, right?
I do.
Yeah. So what's your future goal? What's your 1 year goal for B2G, or your vision, I should say, for B2G and for Girls to Young Ladies?
The right now, because I'm at 14, will be 15 schools. The biggest thing, unfortunately, most of my young men are reading below grade level.
Okay.
Our literacy rate is ridiculous right now in our inner city schools. My 1 year goal would be to have every student in my program increase a grade level in their reading. What people don't understand is that when they can't read, forget it. It messes up the science, their math. It's birthing other defects with their education.
Okay.
So my number one goal this year for any young man and woman, and boys and gentlemen, or girls and young ladies, is to increase their reading skills.
Okay.
To increase their speaking skills.
Okay.
And with that, with their math. I would love for all my upperclassmen to actually culminate and to walk the stage this year.
Okay.
And I think, like at the beginning, like I said, to me, the most powerful thing that you can change in a person is their mindset. You can change a person's mindset for in the negative way, but what I'm trying to do is change every young man and every young woman and every adult that I come in contact with. Is I'm trying to do that mindset shift to where, just like Denzel was talking, I've had the opportunity of me being in law enforcement, prior law enforcement. I've had the opportunity to meet everyone from Kobe to The Rock to all these stars.
Oh, wow.
And I used to couldn't believe it, but what I realize now is that they're just people that know their destiny.
Yeah.
Hard work and effort.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
That's all it is.
That's all it is.
Yeah, not magic.
So, no.
It's not magic.
Not magic. So
That's awesome. Well, I know you're but you're always accepting donations and sponsorships. So how can people contact you if they want to get involved in B2G?
Okay, well, boys and gentlemen and girls and young ladies, we're looking for interns. So we're now accepting internships. Okay. If you want to get in touch with Boys and Gentlemen, the email is boys to gentlemen, spelled BOYSTWO, gentlemen @gmail.com. Facebook is Linton, Boys and to Gentlemen. And Instagram is B_to G. We're looking for anything from, it doesn't have to be financial. It could be game tickets, it could be dinner tickets, it could be bowling night, it could be ties, it could be suits, it could be food for the upcoming holidays, it could be gift cards, whatever. It could be your time.
Right.
Please get in contact with me via email or the website, which is boystojgentlemen.com, or the other links that I gave you. We can use any kind of help. The program is about empowerment and positivity.
Yes.
If you're not a part of those two things, we're good.
Yeah. We'll pass on your services.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for stopping by, Officer Linton. It's always good to have you stop by the Scoop and give us the update on the young men and the young ladies. And I commend you for the wonderful work that you're doing in the community. And I can't wait to see even more growth, because we've seen so much growth from the young people so far. So. And
if I could say one thing.
Yes.
Ashley, thank you very much. This is my third time on the show.
It is.
But your radio show has helped to shed light on, I'm doing the work, but we have so many good people doing the work that they don't get a chance to actually tell what they're doing. We have a lot of, I call frontline soldiers. So I'll say we, because there's a lot of people watching that follow the program, but I appreciate you letting me on the show to talk about what we're trying to do to empower this community. And again, I'll be a youth advocate, community advocate by any means necessary.
Yes.
To affect that positive change. So thank you for the opportunity.
No problem. And thank you for my B2G. What do they call these bracelets?
This is, this
resistance band. They're not resistance.
No, I got to come up with a cool name. But for right now, they're just the B2G wristbands, bracelets, and we do, because I know we have some of my young ladies watching tonight. Your bracelets coming.
I was gonna say, where are the pink ones?
Don't worry, they're coming. They're coming.
Or the glitter ones.
Yeah, they're coming.
Maybe I could help you with the
Before
design.
Christmas.
No, I'm just kidding. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to The Scoop. You can catch us every Wednesday here on MorrisMediaLive.com. Catch the replays on YouTube, and you can check me out and The Scoop out on our Instagram page, The Scoop on Air, as well as on Facebook at The Scoop on Air. My personal IG is at Ms. Ashley Marie. And we'll catch you next week. Ciao. Thanks, Officer Linton.
Thank you
for hanging out.
Thank you.
Yeah. Castro. Oh, wow.